Hey guys, Kenzairo here, and I have a question for you guys. Do you know every year how many anime we get? There are 4 total seasons of anime, and each year we get somewhere between 100 and 150 new anime, which means in the past decade we got a total of around 1000 anime, and to choose just 10 from that 1000 is not an easy thing to do. However, your boy did just that. In front of me, I made a list of 10 anime from this decade which I believe to be the very best. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a look at each anime on this list and we're gonna discuss exactly why I picked them for this list. This is gonna be like a Watch Mojo video, but I'm gonna try to make it a bit better. So without wasting any time, let us begin at number 10. At number 10 we have Bakuman. Bakuman is a series which is made by the same duo who actually made Death Note. You know, this one. And Death Note, in my opinion, is the best anime of the last decade. Now imagine how a huge fan of Death Note like me would feel when he finds out that the same duo who worked on Death Note is working on their next series, and that next series was Bakuman. Bakuman is a story about 2 guys. One is an artist and one is a writer, and these 2 guys want to become the best mangaka in Japan. The story may sound simple at first, but it is really not. There is a huge cast of very different characters in this series which you're gonna love. Each character is really unique and really memorable. When you finish watching this anime, these characters is exactly what is going to stick with you. Other than that, one more thing that I really love about this series is that when these 2 characters, the main characters, are working on their manga, each manga they're working on is sort of like a new idea for a new manga. They work on different manga throughout the series, but each manga is really unique and so good that at times you're gonna feel like, hey, I wanna stop watching this anime and I actually wanna read that manga that these guys are working on instead. Keep in mind, each of that manga that these 2 characters are working on is still the brainchild of the same guy who made Death Note. So all those mangas are really good in itself. So if you haven't seen Bakuman, I really do recommend you check it out, because Bakuman is so unique and there really is no anime out there which is anything like this. It gets number 10 on this list. Now moving on to number 9, we have Your Lie in April. Now you know how there are different themes in anime, like some anime are about becoming a ninja, some are about becoming the pirate king. Then here comes a manga about music. When I first heard that, it completely blew my mind. How are you gonna make a series about music in manga form? There are no sounds in manga, so how are you convey the sounds and the music through manga? I didn't really understand that at first, but then I checked out this series and it really achieved the impossible. It is so good that when you're reading the manga, you can really imagine how the sounds and how the songs sound like when you are reading it. Now imagine, even if the manga is that good, now you turn that manga into an anime and add actual sounds on top of those musics, and how good is that going to be? Exactly, that is how good this series is. But this series is not just about music. It follows the life of this one child called Arima, and this child is a prodigy. He plays piano and he plays piano like perfectly. He never makes mistakes, he never plays a wrong note, and he's really good. At one point in his life, Arima loses his mom, and that leaves him with a really big emotional scar. His mom is the one who sort of pushed him into learning piano and getting good with it. But after he loses his mom, the emotional scar and the damage that is left with this child is so deep that he stops playing the piano, not by choice, but because he's forced to. Now, every time he tries to play the piano, everything around him goes silent. He cannot hear the piano, he cannot hear his voice, he cannot hear anything, and that is the emotional state of Arima. At one point in the story, he meets a girl who plays violin, and that is where the journey of Arima actually begins. When he's with her, he realizes there is so much more to music than just playing the piano perfectly every single time. The journey of Arima going from that emotionally damaged state to discovering what music is really about is really amazing to watch. If you haven't seen this anime, I really do recommend that you check this out. There is very few anime in terms of, you could say, music that are out there that explores music in the way that this anime does. So yeah, number 9, it goes to Your Lie in April. On number 8 we have Another, and this is an anime which is really difficult to talk about because on the surface Another is really just a horror / mystery anime, but it is much more than that because there are different types of horror. You could say there is a horror movie like Saw, then there is horror movies like Conjuring. Another leans more towards the Conjuring type of horror. So if you're someone who loves Conjuring, then chances are you're gonna love Another as well. Now here's the problem. I and nobody can talk about Another without actually spoiling it, and I don't want to spoil it for you. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna tell you, watch the first minute of the first episode, just 1 minute, not 5 minutes, not 10 minutes, just 1 minute. When you watch that first minute of the first episode, you're gonna understand the kind of atmosphere this anime really covers, and you're gonna really understand whether you're gonna like this anime or not. If you like that first minute, you're gonna like this entire anime. If you don't, then you're not. So that is how you're gonna decide whether you should watch this anime or not. There are very few anime out there which are like Another, and personally I really prefer anime which are short. So that's why number 8 spot goes to Another. Now moving on to number 7, we have Parasite, and this anime was crazy popular when it was airing. Most of you guys who've been watching anime for the last 5-6 years probably already heard about this because it was crazy popular. Personally, I discovered it through manga. I found a used manga book in a store once and I picked it up and I really loved it. So what is Parasite about? In this anime, we have an alien race which is sort of invading the planet. This alien race of Parasite sort of takes over the bodies of humans. However, when a parasite is about to take over the body of our main character, he notices him and he stops him. Instead of taking over the body of our main character, the parasite is only able to take over his right hand. So now we have this main character who is human, but his right hand is alien. Now here's the interesting thing. The parasite which took over the body of our main character is not just a parasite who is living off his body, but this parasite has intelligence. He can do things which other humans can't. But the biggest thing that attracted me to this series is the character progression. We have this human character, our main character, and then we have the parasite. Our human character begins as a character who's very, well, human, and the parasite is very robotic. He doesn't understand human emotions. But as the series progresses, you see that our human character slowly turns into a parasite, not in terms of visuals or anything, but emotionally. And our parasite turns more and more human. All this character progression between the human and the parasite is really good to watch, and this series is really well animated. There are tons of action scenes which are done so well, and it is really a treat to watch. If you haven't seen this anime, go watch it, add it on your list, and you're gonna love it, I assure you of that. Moving on to number 6, we have Steins Gate, and Steins Gate is one of the anime which I really do think is one of the most underrated anime of this decade. Most people stop watching Steins Gate on the first 4 or 5 episodes. Steins Gate sadly has a weak start, like it starts off slow, but it's for good reason. Steins Gate is an anime about time travel, and in those initial episodes, it has to set up its time travel mechanics, otherwise the later arcs are not gonna make any sense. Now keep in mind, in this anime the characters don't have a time machine like you would imagine. What they do have is the ability to send text messages to the past, and the entire series sort of explores how much of a present or the future you can change with small text messages. You can make a small change in the past using a text message, and it's gonna have a huge impact on the present or the future. That is the basic premise of the first 10 episodes. This is where the series sort of sets up its characters, its time travel mechanics, and then once it reaches episode 11 or 12, then it moves on to the real story. So if you're gonna check this anime out, I really ask you to be patient for the first 10 or 12 episodes. After that, the series really picks off, and once it picks off, it is better than anything time travel related out there. Next we have number 5, which is Mob Psycho. Now Mob Psycho is a series which is made by the same person who made One Punch Man, and due to the popularity of One Punch Man, I think Mob Psycho gets a bit overshadowed. However, there are similarities between the two series, like the main character in Mob and the main character in One Punch Man are both crazy powerful. However, the difference between the two is that in One Punch Man, Saitama's emotions are not really explode that much. However, in Mob, his powers are psychic powers, and those powers are linked to his emotions. So every time his emotions go crazy, his powers go crazy. So that way his emotions are really explode in the series. There might be some of you guys who might be wondering which of the two is better, but I can't really answer that for you, because honestly, if I did a poll today asking people which one you think is better, I think that poll is gonna be very split between 50-50. You like either Mob or you like One Punch Man, and that's okay in my opinion. You can watch both of them and you can see which one you like more. Personally, I prefer Mob. That's why this spot goes to Mob Psycho. Next, on number 4, we have Kuroko no Basket, and this anime is about basketball. When I first heard about Kuroko no Basket, I was a bit reluctant to watch it, because I was like, I don't want to watch an anime of people throwing a basketball in the basket net for 20 minutes, but this anime is so much more than that. It is about basketball, but it is basketball with superpowers. In the past, there was an anime called Slam Dunk, which was the sports anime of that generation, and Kuroko no Basket is the anime which sort of filled in the shoes of that anime for our generation. Now, Kuroko no Basket follows the story of this group of guys who are really good at basketball. Each of them have a unique superpower of their own in terms of basketball. However, there comes a time when their team gets so strong that they decide that it is best to just split up, because there was no competition against them. So instead of just fighting as a team, they decide to play for different schools and compete against each other. We mainly follow one guy who is named Kuroko and his teammate, who is the main character sort of the series, called Kagami Taiga, and we sort of see it throughout the series, see these two guys compete against different schools and defeat each of the member of the Generation of Miracles. The story, however, is not just limited to basketball. There are tons of different characters. You learn about their lives, and once you finish the series, what you're gonna be left with is a wholesome experience of a wholesome anime. So take it from me, even if you don't like basketball, you definitely should give this anime a try. Now coming to number 3, oh, we are getting close. Number 3 on the list is Hunter x Hunter. This is a crazy popular anime. I don't think I even need to explain it to you guys. I was hooked on Hunter x Hunter since episode number 2. And the thing is, I know that the manga is still going on and manga isn't finished, and it's not gonna finish anytime soon, but even then, I think the 2011 anime which we are talking about sort of have a beginning, have a middle, and has an ending. If I didn't know about the manga and I didn't know the story was going on, I would be fully satisfied with the ending of Hunter x Hunter, because Gon starts off with one goal and at the end he meets that goal, and once that goal is met, I know the universe expands further, but I think that ending was still good and it just made me feel complete. Other than that, I think every arc of Hunter x Hunter is written extremely well. The spider arc is my favorite, and when I watched the spider arc for the first time, I remember telling myself that wow, this is the best thing I've seen in quite a while. It is really good, and for that reason, Hunter x Hunter number 3. Next, on number 2, we have Kimi no Nawa, or Your Name. Now I know this is not an anime but an anime movie, but I think it still deserves a spot on this list, and the reason for that is really simple. Now here's the thing, it is a movie by Makoto Shinkai, and I think I speak for many people out there when I say this. Makoto Shinkai's movies are not just about the stories they tell, it is about the characters, it is about the music, it is about the visuals. All these things in Makoto Shinkai movies comes together so well that it just turns into a masterpiece. If you watch the trailer for this movie, you're gonna think that the basic premise of this story is rather simple, which in a way is true, but if you watch the movie, you're gonna realize that that basic premise is expanded to a whole lot more. This is not a movie that you're just gonna watch one time. If you're gonna watch it one time, you're probably gonna watch it again and again, because there are so many things that you miss when you watch it for the first time that you will want to watch it all over again. And when you do, it's gonna be just as much fun watching it a second time as it is watching it the first time. The songs in the movie, sometimes in Makoto Shinkai movies, story is told via songs. The lyrics of each song is sort of correlated to the emotional state or maybe the state of the characters in the movie at that point. That is not an easy thing to do. To find the right lyrics and still make it sound good, that is a really difficult thing to do. And obviously Makoto Shinkai is not the only person who deserves credit for all of that, but in general sense, yeah, Makoto Shinkai movies do really go that way. He did make another movie this year which was Tenki no Go, but personally I prefer Your Name over that. So number 2 spot, Your Name, you take it. Now here we are at number 1, and my number 1 anime of the decade is Attack on Titan. Now I can already hear some of you guys going overrated, but I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to disagree. I don't think that Attack on Titan is overrated. Attack on Titan is one of those anime that I think is well on its way to become a classic legend. There are many anime that we remember to this day from like 10 or 20 years ago. There are movies like Akira, there's anime like Death Note, then there's anime like Cowboy Bebop or Neon Genesis. All these anime are remembered for so many things that they did in the anime industry. Attack on Titan is definitely one of them. When the anime for Attack on Titan released, it completely changed the charts for manga and anime industry. When it first released, was loved not just for the storytelling, not just for the dark theme, but also for its visuals, the art style, the animations. Everything in Attack on Titan felt so fresh. The eyes drawn in Attack on Titan are so realistic, the animations are so smooth, and I think there is one guy that I wanna shout out for all of that is Imai-san. And if it wasn't for this person, then Attack on Titan would not be what it is today. If you watch Attack on Titan and at any point you go, wow, that animation, the animation in that scene looked amazing, chances are that that scene was done by Imai. Whether it is the story, whether it is the animations, or whether it is the visuals, no matter what the condition is, I don't think there is any anime we got this decade which can rival Attack on Titan. And due to all of those reasons, Attack on Titan is my anime of the decade. So that is all for this video. I hope you liked it. Did I miss your favorite anime from this decade on my list? If I did, my bad. As I said at the beginning of the video, there were 1,000 anime and I had to pick really just 10 out of those 1,000. Obviously I'm gonna miss some of them. So if I missed your favorite anime, feel free to comment in the comment section below. And I have an announcement to make. I started a Discord server, and if you want to join it, link is going to be in the description below. Other than that, don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, MySpace. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and I will see you next time.